Hello, and welcome to another Ask Us Anything Live with me, Kate R. for Intrepid English. Every Friday, I go live and I talk about a grammar, vocabulary, or pronunciation point to help you in English, to empower you for your future careers or in your life in general. So this month, we've actually been focusing on job interviews. Why? Because September is a classic time of the year when many people are looking for a change in their career or to finally go for that dream job they've always wanted. And that actually happened with one of my recent students. He has actually managed to land his dream job that he has been aiming for his entire career. And that is through working together on job interview questions for the past couple of months and helping him practice so that when he went through the many interviews that were needed for that particular role with that company, he was able to answer correctly, successfully, and impress the interviewer, which is what a job interview is all about. And so the last week it was the pronunciation tips to help you succeed in interviews. Lorraine and I have also done a video on top 5 hacks to help you succeed in interviews. If you are planning on starting the interview process, then I thoroughly recommend that you read, watch all the content that we have given already this month, and we'll continue to until the end of October. So today I want to talk about 10 essential job interview phrases, and these are for job interviews that are online or in person. So it's very important when you start an interview to be polite and to set a professional tone. So the best way to start an interview is, I would just like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be interviewed today. It's very important that you're setting a very nice tone for the interview by starting with that phrase. Now, the interviewer will ask you classic questions such as, tell me about yourself, tell me about your key strengths and weaknesses. So it's very important that you highlight your skills without hesitation. So I thoroughly recommend practicing your answers, not memorizing your answers, but practicing your answers with a native speaker so that you sound natural, but also you are not stumbling over your words, because it's very difficult for us sometimes to talk about our skills and our strengths, but it is also very important to highlight ourselves in a job interview. So classic phrase would be, one of my key strengths is problem solving, being an inspiring leader, my attention to detail. Okay, so you would list your different strengths, but it's a very direct phrase. There's no hesitation. You're showing how confident you are. The next phrase is again showing confidence and relevance. You always want to be in the interview, you want to be relevant to the job you are applying to. So, for example, if the job is asking for certain skills or in a certain field, you can say, I have experience in these skills. I have experience in this field, which I believe will add value to your team. Very useful phrase there. They will also ask you about your experiences. The job interviewer always wants to hear about your experiences. He or she doesn't want to hear the perfect answer or what you think they want to hear. They want to hear your experience, your achievements, what you have done in your previous jobs. So you can say, I am particularly proud of this achievement. Why? Because it taught me this lesson or this skill. So I am very proud of the collaboration with this company where we achieved these results because it taught me useful skills such as strategic planning, time management, critical thinking. Okay? It's also, when you're giving the achievements, it's important that you turn the achievements into stories and show reflection. Okay? You don't want to just list your achievements. So it's important that you really involve them in the interviewer in your achievement and show that you have looked back on your previous experiences and grown from that experience. Personal growth is something that interviewers are always looking for. Another classic phrase would be, I adapt quickly to new situations and enjoy learning from challenges. Interviewers are always looking for flexibility and problem solving from their job interviewees. They are skills that every employer values. You also, as I mentioned, you always want to be relevant. You always want to link your experience directly to the job requirements, showing that you have researched the job and the company. So, for example, you could say, I understand this role requires these skills, and I can demonstrate that I have these skills through these examples. Now, talking about examples, one tip that we have been talking a lot about at Intrepid English is the STAR method. This is really important to get this really clear in your head and to use it. What do I mean by the STAR method? In a nutshell, the STAR method is when you are giving an answer to a question, definitely if it's a behavioral or situational question, you're going to give the situation, what happened, the task, what did you need to do, the action, what you did, and the result, what was the result at the end. And obviously you always want it to be a positive result. So in my previous role, I successfully managed this task or this project, which resulted in this positive outcome. Obviously, using the STAR method, you will give more examples, but it needs to be clear: situation, task, action, result. That way your answer will be nice and clear and concise. You also want to show motivation to the interviewer. You don't want them just to think, oh, well, they're just applying because they need a job. You want them to feel that you are applying to their job at their company because you will add value to their company and because you are motivated to join their company. So you can say, what excites me about this position is the opportunity to learn more about diversity and inclusivity, if that is one of the company values. There's always a professional way to give an answer. So you would not be talking badly about your employer. You do not talk badly about your colleagues. You always keep the interview professional. Always turn your answer into a positive answer. So, for example, you wouldn't say, tell me about yourself or describe yourself. You don't just go, oh, well, you have to prepare your answer. So you could say a classic phrase to start you in answering that question could be, I describe my work style as detail-orientated, creative, collaborative, inspiring, okay, which helps me succeed in managing a team or in producing these results, in achieving the best results in our team. Now, it's very important, as I said, when you start an interview to give a polite and positive impression, but you also want to end an interview giving a strong and polite closing that leaves a positive impression. If you're in person, of course, you're going to give a strong handshake. But it's also important to say the very important phrase, thank you again for your time today. I'm very enthusiastic about the possibility of contributing to your company. And you would give the company's name. So it's very important. So you say that in the interview, and then you can also follow up with an email as well to really make it clear to the job interviewer that you are excited, motivated, and passionate about joining their team. So I hope that's helped, and I hope you will also have watched the video that Lorraine and I have done recently. I'm also going to put in the comments the description. I'm going to put in the links for also our blogs and podcasts that we've already written this month, which is helping you with the common errors that job interviewee English learners often make and how to fix them. We've also given you some red flags that, again, you want to avoid and what you can use instead. So these are really essential reading if you are going to be preparing for interviews this year and, of course, all for next year. So I hope you will have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next week when I'm not going to be necessarily focusing on job interviews, but a very important point, which is word and sentence stress. So sentence stress is really, really important. And obviously, if you're giving job interviews in English, you also want your English to have a musicality to it, the right rhythm, so that you are understood, which is obviously the most important point. You don't want to just be grammatically correct. You also want to be understood. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next week for sentence stress.